if you're going to, yeah.
So a follow up to that. So you're laying there after you pull the trigger. Were you conscious? Were you unconscious?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do, because I actually talk about this too. It's the idea of getting through the millisecond. And what I mean by that is like that gunshot wound, the gunshot was a millisecond moment in my life. And I like to impress upon people that you can get through a millisecond.
Yeah.
Like reach out to a friend, walk to a safe spot, text a friend, listen to music, whatever your safe thing is to do that, right? Because like it was a millisecond that I went from wanting to die, aka wanting the pain to stop, right? A millisecond was I went from wanting to die to groveling for my life.
Okay,
like I was groveling for my life. Like I knew right away. So I was, there's a phone in our basement. This was just prior to the launching of 911 in our area, because I'm from a really small town. And so 911 was launched, I think, 2 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is that, so I literally crawled, I was conscious, and for the most part, I believe, and I crawled to the phone that we had in the basement. And I was trying to dial my mom's place of work, the hospital, right? And I could get the first three numbers. I can actually see it, 2, 5, and 8. And I could not. I either passed out, low blood, all the things so I couldn't complete the next 4 digits.
Wow.
So which is interesting now because
you could have hit 911.
I could have,
3 digits.
and now it's 988 for a mental health crisis,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
How great is that? That just in July of
That's right.
2022, 988 launched the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. There was a 1-800 number for it before, but so how great that, yeah, I think that's just kind of a interesting fact that,
wow.
Yeah, and so I think the key though is dialing 988 before, right, to get help before, because there is help. There are people.
So
who
dial
care.
988 before you have to dial 911.
Yeah, like essentially,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I know I speak for a lot of people that are appreciative that you weren't paying attention in
in
anatomy class.
I know it's yeah.
That's wow. That's
I
an amazing story.
feel very blessed to be here. It took me a long time to want to share my story, because it was just so taboo, so painful, and then kind of like your concept of this series is when you share your story, it matters.
Right.
It's your story you never know who it could help, and how dare I hide it when it could ultimately prevent someone from losing their life. Like that's,
well,
yeah.
There's one thing I've learned as more and more examples of suicide have popped up in my life and my sphere of friends and even family members is, some people are crying for help and you just don't see it, and some people are really, really good at hiding it and masking it.
Yeah.
And you just never know what's happening. And, I shared with you earlier of a gentleman that was a patron of our business and saw him every other day. And you just would never know. I mean, talked to him all the time. And then we find out that, he died by suicide, and just, it was very devastating because from the outside looking in, which is where most people's perspective is, you would know,
Yeah.
So that's unbelievable. So,
Well, just in 2022, we lost 3 major D1 collegiate athletes.
right.
That I'm really proud of their families for sharing what could have been their deepest, darkest secret with the world to draw people into that conversation,
Well, and you look at like Robin Williams.
Exactly.
And you're like, this person was put on this planet to make us laugh and to, what a gift and what an amazing talent. And then you find out that that person, died, and it takes that taboo of suicide and it kind of turns it on its head, because anyone could be having suicide ideations or dark moments, or what I call low tides, and you just don't know.
Right.
And so, part of what we're trying to do is with the Rising Tides project is to just use fishing as an opportunity, just like you and I are doing right now, just to talk.
Yeah.
Just to bond and connect, just to get outdoors and
being in nature.
And kind of recenter yourself a little bit, and and that's been part of the success of our program. But